researching for this, and this isn't a TV fact, but yes, researching, you heard me.
Yeah.
I did see a fact that apparently Sandra Bullock turned down the role of Neo in The Matrix. Have you heard that before?
No, that's got to be bullshit, but that is fantastic. I can picture her.
Bullshit.
Did you say Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. I thought you were talking about Channel 10 news presenter Sandra Sully.
Oh, right.
I am tired. Yeah. Sandra Sully as Neo would have been very odd.
Okay.
But Sandra, yeah, okay. That kind of makes sense. Yeah.
And it wasn't talking about a Sandy Bullock. Like a
that's good. How long have you been working on that one?
Plow driving animal that might have got onto a beach.
Are we diving right in with people who should have been cast for different things? Because I got one to give you.
If you got one, give me.
Season 8 of The American Office.
Yeah.
Carell said he was going to leave. And so they were casting someone else to play him. The first one they were casting, and who got the role and was going to do it, James Gandolfini. Right?
Oh,
James
yes.
Gandolfini. And HBO thought it would ruin the reputation of The Sopranos so much that they paid him the wages of a full season of The Office not to do it.
Not to do the show.
Fantastic.
Surely you'd want the full season of The Office plus $1. Like, it's got to be...
exactly. Yeah.
It's got to be...
The Tony Soprano dollar. Yeah.
Or some gabagool.
So, with your research thing, what I found, right, when I was researching this episode is I couldn't find anything that was...
Before we go on, this is a bit weird, but fair enough, I guess. And the topic is weird TV. Go.
I'm Monty. I'm here. I'm the guest
hello,
today.
Mons.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, they would have worked it out.
All right,
I
now
have a
listen.
unique voice.
We TV's weird. We can't obviously go through decade by decade talking about all the weird stuff that's ever happened. Heaps of weird stuff happened. I mean, the first thing I think of when I think about weird TV stuff is how many times they've had live award announcements that have been wrong.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair.
The Oscars, and there was Australia's Next Top Model.
Australia's Next Top Model comes to mind pretty quickly. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, live television in general. Like, there's just so much weird shit that has happened there. Remember that weird fuck from Big Brother Australia who wouldn't say the first season wouldn't say anything, and
Merlin.
Merlin, that's it. Yeah, well done. Yeah,
well, because once they got kicked out of Big Brother house, they would go out, do an elaborate walk out onto the stage and chat with Gretel.
Yes,
but
Gretzky.
I think it was refugee related, whatever his protest was.
It was refugee related.
He put some tape over his mouth and just sat there and wouldn't answer any questions.
And I seem to remember Gretel did pretty well handling it. I think she didn't, because that'd be tough as a host.
It would be very tough. Gretel, and this is very Australian-centric talk here.
Yep.
But Gretel always struck me, while hosting live TV shows, as someone who is only just keeping her temper under control.
Yeah, I get you. I get your concept. She had an air of, I'm upset that everyone's not in line. We all need to stay in line.
Slightly headmastery.
Yeah. I get that vibe.
Yeah, not exactly happy with how things are going ever.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, fuck, it's a tough gig, live TV hosting.
It is.
Especially when you, I think live TV hosting something like a Tonight Show, where you're talking to what's supposed to be other professionals, would be easier than talking to, ex-Big Brother contestants. That
I agree, absolutely.
I was saying just a second ago that researching this episode...
Yes, thank you.
I ran into the issue that I found so much on it, so many different things, but none of it that I truly considered weird. Not weird enough for this podcast either. They were just interesting facts about television shows.
Yeah, I think...
You know what I mean?
I do, absolutely. And we're all a bit immune in the days of kind of Trumpian politics and stuff like that.
What's weird now? Yeah, that's fair.
The bar's too high. But yeah, I'm happy for slightly interesting
but on a
and fair
previous
enough,
episode,
I guess.
On a previous episode, you and I talked about a French man who spent a year eating a plane.
That's true.
That's weird. That's weird. That's weird. James Gandolfini maybe being cast for a role and not being cast because they didn't want to ruin reputation. Not quite as weird. It's not a person eating a plane.
I see what you're saying, but it is interesting. Well, casting things.
Go on. What do you got?
Apparently, the powers that be wanted Matthew Broderick to play Walter White.
I heard that too. That was one of the ones that came up for me today.
Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, Bueller as Walter. I kind of like it because I think the concept is similar, which is straight man or kind of normal person who you wouldn't expect to be meth kingpin being meth kingpin.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been a bit weird having Broderick do that. I just don't.
Do you think
like
at the end of the episode he'd come out in his bathrobe going, "What are you doing here? The cooking's over."
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Is he still married to Sarah Jessica Parker?
I believe so.
Okay, what else you got for me? You got any other
I've got
casting ones?
This isn't a casting one. This is more just a... So this is you're right about the level of what's weird.
Yeah,
My thing here is, the weird part is, how did this show get cancelled after 6 episodes? So it's the Dana Carvey show.
Okay, so I have an opinion as to where you're going with this. Are you going to read me the writer's room?
Yes! How did you know that?
Because I, too, fell upon this. Holy shit, what a writer's room. Right. Say it for the people. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, Dana Carvey show got axed after 6 episodes, but this is the team of writers for that show. Stephen Colbert, Stephen Carell, Bob Odenkirk, Robert Smigel, Greg Daniels, Louis C.K., Charlie Kaufman, and Dino Stamatopoulos. I don't know who Dino Stamatopoulos is.
No, I also read the list and then thought, who's Dino Stamatopoulos?
But they put him last. And good writers pack a punch right at the end, so maybe he's the best of the lot.
The one that got me was Charlie Kaufman. I can't believe that the other ones seemed like, okay, they would work together, but Charlie Kaufman as well, I suppose it's just a link to the past. So that lasted 6 episodes, and Doug Mulray's Tonight Show only lasted 1. That's
half.
Half, sorry, and not a Tonight Show, it's Funniest Home Videos, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was bad.
I got to hunt down that Dana Carvey show and watch it. That would be some show.
Yeah, but only 6 episodes of it, so they were good, but not good for very long.
So
what else got cancelled? You got others?
Oh, no, there were just a couple of little tidbits I had at the start. But I want to reassure people. I forgot to say this when I was doing my very fast haphazard. I did a very fast haphazard intro because I interrupted you and I didn't want you to forget your train of thought. So I was trying to
or know who I was. That's the thing too. People needed to know who I was.
But one thing I was going to say is that you're in good hands because we are experts here, because we used to have a podcast called Welcome to Television. So rest assured that you're not just listening to waffle. This is subject matter expertise.
Does Welcome to Television exist anywhere still?
It doesn't for people to find. I've got the episodes.
Yeah, good. Okay.
If I find myself with time one day, I could put them back up. But the problem is with that, Monty, is that it was kind of largely based around television industry news which would be from 7 years ago now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Not the most current, up-to-date kind of vibe.
But if people want to hear what we thought of television news 7 years ago, I could put it up.
Reach out.
Right in.
Yeah, if you're still waiting to find out who won Survivor Season 1, the Australian, let us know.
I think if we're talking weird TV, maybe we should start off with what are some of the weirdest shows we've ever heard of.
Sure.
I mean, there are a lot of weird shows out there, but I guess what we're talking about here is kind of mainstream shows that are not trying to be absurdist sketch comedies.
Yep.
It's very easy to make a deliberately weird show like Mr. Show or Monty Python, Tim and Eric, etc.
Yeah, I get you.
I think we're talking about mainstream stuff here. Twin Peaks and Northern Exposure are probably the first two I think of when I'm just thinking, what's a weird show?
Yeah, I go to It's a Knockout. It's a fantastic show, but it's essentially a kind of race in a public swimming pool. It's just
it's
I like
madcap.
Yeah, it's pretty madcap, yeah. But I also like anything Japanese. Takeshi's Castle, like that kind of stuff is pretty odd.
I think we could maybe come back in a future season and just look at Japanese game shows potentially.
Yeah, I love the concept of Japanese game shows of punishing failure rather than rewarding success. Just as a concept, it just works better than our game.
There's one that I've seen where it's just two people on the end of a clear perspex pipe. There's a cockroach in the pipe, and people at both ends have got to blow into
I've seen that one. Yeah.
And so whoever blows the hardest will force the cockroach into the mouth of the person at the other end.
I saw one that was just more and more elaborate scenarios where someone would go into a toilet thinking it was a regular toilet, and then as soon as they sat down to do their business, all the walls would be removed and they'd be somewhere completely different. Like, very public.
I thought you were going to say, like, the toilet would stand up. There was a person all along.
I think that's one too. I'm sure that's the thing. I'm sure.
All right. Well, I think some of the, I guess, Western shows that are typically weird. One of the earlier ones would probably be The Flying Nun.
Yeah, that's an odd show.
So that's Sally Field, who was a nun who joined a convent on a hill.
Yep.
And, often due to the fact that she had quite stiff garments, aerodynamic garments. And
didn't the ear flap stuff have a lot to do with it?
Yeah, a bit of ear flap work. Yeah. And it was windy on the hill, and she was quite light. So, yeah, all these episodes kind of revolved around her just getting up into the air and flying about.
What did she do? I've never seen the show. What was her purpose as a flying nun? Did she fly to, like, religious crises and help out?
I don't know that they were religious crises. I just think in some way, and, this is me trying to remember back decades to rain breaks in the cricket. I think, whenever there was some sort of drama going on, that the sight of a flying person might somehow either interrupt for the good or benefit in some way.
So just a distraction. She was purely a distraction.
But listen, look, 82 episodes they got out of that. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I have never really watched. I've watched a bit of it, but I quite enjoy the name Jake and the Fat Man for a show. It's just a great name for a show. I don't know if it was weird at all, but it's just a great name, Jake and the Fat Man.
I think it's kind of weird. Well, it's weird for us to look back on now and go, imagine a Fat Man show now.
Well, there are lots of Fat Man shows now. We just kind of package them differently. Have you seen that, like, My 600-Pound Life and stuff like that? Why is that okay? Like, why is it, like, it's the modern version
not exploit. Why are we not?
Yeah, that's exploitative. Yeah. It's the modern version of Circus Freaks, right? And there's a lot of shows about, I don't know what you call them now, little people?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of shows about them that seem exploitative to me, but seem to be okay with it.
You say Circus Freaks, right? It is a bit like that. In that, everyone goes, oh, it must be really bad for them. But, and yes, it probably was, but also...
Circus Freaks are doing well out of it. Is that what you're getting at?
Not doing well, but maybe their options are like, they're getting a living out of it.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, my 600-pound life...
When the bearded lady didn't have many other options. Yeah, okay.
The 600-pound life one, you're either going to be sitting there on benefits watching TV your whole life, or you can be on a show. Which would you rather?
Well, they'll film you doing exactly what you were going to do without being there.
But you're on TV and get paid, presumably.
That's fair. And then what about those, like, medical gross-out shows like... do you remember that annoying, effeminate Englishman who had that show in Australia on Channel 9? I think it was a British show. I forget what it's called, but he was always travelling to places and looking at people's weird medical ailments with a kind of sexy jaunt to it, usually. I
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking of... now I don't know his name. Fuck.
Okay, well, I don't... Even if you mention the man's name, it's not this guy. This guy is a nobody. It was late night Channel 9. It was somewhat sexy because you'd see boobs occasionally. I remember being young about it.
The British bits throw me off, though.
Okay, well, it was quite British. They would travel to like fun British places like Blackpool and like go and interview the gross young chavs and say, "Have you got any ailments?" And they'd say, "Yeah, can you have a look at this rash?" And it's like just disgusting. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, not in the slightest.
Medical drug. I don't remember. I'll
I'm
try
going
to
to
find the
move on
name.
if that's all right.
Yeah, please. What I'm getting at, though, to wrap it up in a bow, exploitation on television.
Yeah.
It has changed over time, but I think it is utterly still there. I think that exploitation is a large part of it, and we have just found different ways to accept it.
Yeah, but also, like, modern times, no one's forced to do anything. Sure, you might be put in a position where something's made to look more attractive than it is.
Yeah.
I mean, coercive style. But still, nobody's forced to be on TV who doesn't want to be on TV.
That's true. But, yeah, okay. All right, I'll go with that. But I think it's grayer than black and white like that. I think there's probably some fat people that don't have any other options.
Is that what we're getting at?
Well, this got a bit off topic. What else you got for weird TV?
All right, what about My Mother the Car, 1965?
Yeah, okay. So we were going to... This was going to come up eventually. So I thought when we were coming into this episode, two things were going to come up eventually, and we have to discuss them at length. My Mother the Car and Cop Rock.
Yes.
Right?
Which we have talked about before.
Yeah, but where? Where have we talked about it? Was it on A Bit Weird or was it on Welcome to Television?
Oh, yeah, I don't know that. I have a feeling.
I don't know if anyone's ever heard us talk about it before.
Yeah.
But, well, someone has. But, okay, so let's start with My Mother the Car. So it's 65 to 66. It only lasts one season. The premise is that a young man, he's in his early 20s, I think. His mother passes away, but is reincarnated as an antique car that he buys.
So remember, that's mid-60s, so antique to them.
Antique to them. So it's like a jalopy-looking car, right? And she talks to him through the radio.
Which isn't a bad premise. Well, sorry. The talking through the radio is not a bad premise. The fact that we know that she is the car is a bad premise.
The thing that I don't get, having not watched any of it ever, just read about it, like, what happens? What misadventure do they get into? What if he was annoyed with his mother? Couldn't he leave the car? Like,
sell the car.
How would he go on dates? I assume that all episodes are about her being there with a date and it being.
Oh yeah, him trying to. Well, God, I was going to be really rude then.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Something about in the back seat, and then Mum, the radio turns on.
Jesus, man.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say. No, I'll just beep what I said. People can decide themselves.
Just beep the not the thing bit, or maybe just beep the thing, but not the. See what happens. But yeah, it only lasted one season. It is considered in a kind of like what seems to be a rather kind of well-respected list, the second worst television show of all time. Jerry Springer being the worst. But that once again, that's just exploitative stuff, I think.
That's a whole episode as well.
Yeah, but Cop Rock. Cop Rock is fantastic, and I don't actually think it's bad. I think it's actually amazing, but it kind of doesn't work unless you see it. It is a very serious police procedural drama.
Yes.
As a musical.
Yep.
It's made by the guy who made
Hill
Street Blues and LA Law.
Yeah.
Like a serious television showrunner.
Doogie Howser.
And he did make Doogie Howser, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. That's a weird show. That's weird.
Teenage Doctors.
Yeah, pitching that show to someone, like, yeah, it's just a regular doctor drama, but the kid's 16. That's weird. Yeah, I think I don't have much more on My Mother the Car or Cop Rock, but they're very odd.
So what it is, Cop Rock is, it is a police procedural, but at the same time also a musical. It only lasted 11 episodes, but you had some fairly gritty topics that you get in the police shows, but all dealt with via song.
And also, it was made in 1990 or 91, and the songs are very much of the era.
Right.
So it's that very kind of late 80s kind of vibe.
Yeah. I think the first one you showed me that is the one that I always remember as soon as somebody says cop rock, is the baby merchant.
Yeah, the baby merchant selling. I got babies.
So
yeah,
there's a guy.
I remember that guy.
So a couple is having trouble conceiving a baby, so they go and meet a guy about maybe getting a black market baby. And so there's this black market baby merchant is singing a song to this couple to try and convince them to have buy a baby.
A black market baby.
Tots are us. I give you all the service and no damn fuss. Give the baby merchant just a week or two. I'll have your baby for you. Ooh, yeah, yeah.
That's so odd. That's weird. Okay, there we go. We've got into the realm of weird.
Tell me, okay, this is the weirdest part. I mean, that's a weird show, and watching it, you go, this is weird. This is the weirdest part for me.
Yeah.
It was pitched. I'm sure it was pitched as exactly what it was. Gritty police show that's a musical.
Yeah,
and yet,
absolutely.
And yet it was cancelled after 11 episodes. Like, surely the people who approved the pitch knew that it was weird and what it would be like.
And you can kind of forgive them a little more than just because it's 1990, not 1965, for the pitch of his mother's reincarnated, but she's a car now. Like, they're both very odd pitches, but I feel like 40 years down the track, you should be better at that.
Okay, so back to My Mother the Car. The 60s had a run, though, of supernatural-themed kind of comedies, right?
What am I thinking of?
Well,
My Favorite Martian. My Favorite Martian?
There's My Favorite Martian.
Yeah.
There's Bewitched, obviously.
Yeah.
There's I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
What about
I see a theme.
Mr. Ed? We're talking fucking horse.
I never considered that in the realm of kind of sci-fi.
Supernatural?
I suppose. Yeah, supernatural. But he is, I suppose, the talking horse.
Okay, but...
Good point.
Well...
Matches everything at the time.
That's a good question. Maybe we'll put a poll up when this episode comes out.
Is Mr. Ed sci-fi?
Mr. Ed, was he just a horse with a voice box, or was he possessed?
Ooh. Did they ever deal with that in the show? Did they ever discuss how he got his vocal abilities?
No, I doubt it. All right. What about Automan?
I read about this today. I don't know much about it. Is it a human car?
No, he's so it's Desi Arnaz Jr.
Oh wow! Okay.
He's a big tech nerd. He's a police computer expert, and he invents a hologram of some kind that can leave the computer at night and fight crime.
Why only at night?
Yeah, good question. I suppose to avoid
to
suspicion.
avoid getting maybe the hologram doesn't project so well during the day with the other light.
Well, also, like, it's police computer expert. This is 1983, so the computer would have taken up a room.
Yeah.
So he probably needs to somehow sneak the hologram out when there's not many people around. But police stations are open all night. They don't shut police stations.
Could you glean from your research into Automan? Is it a man that looks like a car? Is the auto anything to do with a car, or is it just a man?
No, I think the auto refers
automated
to that
man.
he's an automated man.
Yeah, okay.
The product of a computer. There's also a character called Cursor, who's just a special effect
swearing guy
that buzzes around. Just a light, a bit of light that buzzes around. I don't know how he helps, but he's there.
That doesn't sound too dissimilar to RoboCop.
No, that's fair. But I think RoboCop had the full backing of the police.
Yeah, he was the police.
There's a level of surreptitiousness to this Automan business.
Why? That's odd too. Surely, if he was doing good crime, maybe he's doing bad crime.
He's not playing by the rules.
Not playing by the rules. Yeah.
Going by the book, Desi Arnaz Jr.
Yeah. Wow, Desi Arnaz Jr. That's wild. I did learn in my research.
It's time to come out of the computer.
I did learn in my research today that the first like 5 seasons of I Love Lucy was sponsored by a cigarette company, and they had to smoke like a certain amount of cigarettes per episode, which is why they're all just fagging on the whole time.
Oh,
Like,
how many takes though?
yeah, right.
Oh,
I also heard another bit of weird Lucille Ball stuff today, which was that she was one of the driving voices and advocates for Star Trek as a television show.
what?
Because the network were highly against it because it was sci-fi and they just didn't make sci-fi shows. And she said, no, it's going to work. And they listened to Lucille Ball. Yeah, bit weird.
There's another fact about... I think she's the first time on television where an actor's pregnancy was actually
Oh, yeah,
written
okay,
into
worked
the
into
show.
the show.
Because
Yeah,
before that,
okay, yep.
like pregnancy wasn't really addressed on television.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a bit taboo on television.
I did read a good one today, and I've forgotten the fact, so that's not going to be great. But it was the first,
we'll sit here and listen to you think.
first toilet flushing sound ever on television. And I thought, well, that's a weird thing. But then I was like, yeah, I suppose wouldn't have happened before.
That might be my parting oddity, so we'll leave that and I'll come back to it.
We'll pretend I didn't say that.
Yeah.
What about the first? Do you know the first man to ever dress as a woman on television?
No.
Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny was the first one to cross-dress. That's not the right term anymore, but on television.
Well, can I just say that you're assuming Bugs' gender?
I am. I am. You're right.
Like Bugs isn't. I don't think Bugs is a name that should infer either.
Yeah, that's fair. He does give off.
He?
The bunny gives off big dick energy.
Oh,
What can I say?
you're right about that.
What can I say?
But
Yeah, I don't know.
But conversely, big clit vibes.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, maybe.
Throbbing clit vibes maybe is that
That was one of the characters on Bugs Bunny.
is that the
Clip.
female equivalent?
I don't know, and I don't want to comment on it much because I feel like I could only get myself into trouble.
Oh yeah, right. But assuming
All right.
assuming an animated bunny's gender's fine with you though, obviously clearly.
Yes, it is.
Can
all
I
right.
speaking of animal audio?
Yeah.
No, go on.
No, I was going to say if we're continuing this theme of jumping to weird other facts, I've got another one. But yeah, let's go with yours. It
No,
seemed
please,
more-
before you forget, because my shit's written down.
Mine's written down in front of me too, so I don't know what we're going to do here.
Now we're in a stalemate. Now we just have to sit here.
Okay, The X-Files, Law and Order, SVU, Twin Peaks, and Homicide: Life on the Street. Those shows, what connects them?
Go on.
They all take place in the same universe. The detectives know each other. So Cooper from Twin Peaks is friends with Fox Mulder. Mulder is friends with Munch on Law and Order. It's like the only time that they mention all of these shows.
But are you
together.
talking about characters or
Yes, the characters.
how
Yep.
do you know he knows Fox Mulder?
He mentions it Fox Mulder mentions it in one episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
David
yeah.
Duchovny is in Twin Peaks as a different character.
Exactly. Yeah,
But
that's why. Yeah.
an FBI agent, cross-dressing FBI agent. See how it's all
There you go. It's all coming back.
come
But yeah,
around?
so there is something further on from that I did not research enough, but probably should have, because it probably would have been perfect for this episode. But it was about, there's apparently some dream episode of some television show that puts all TV shows into the same universe only in this
Wow.
show. I think the show was Saint Elsewhere. I don't know what that show is, but
Okay. Well,
I should have done more research.
No.
Just
But this is a good
teaser.
this is a good reason for us to come back next season with these kind of follow-ups.
Better TV fact. What
Well-
do you got? You had something.
Well, I was going to move on to Manimal, which
Oh, yeah.
is
Explain more.
so international playboy Jonathan Chase spent years in the darkest parts of the world learning a very particular set of skills. So he's kind of set up as a bit like a Bruce Wayne character.
The darkest parts of the world?
Well, I think that's a euphemism.
Okay. Not,
Africa, maybe.
yeah. Oh.
That's not me. That's what I think
Okay.
they're saying.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
So it sounds like they're setting him up to be a bit of a Bruce Wayne character. Batman
Sounds that way,
character.
doesn't it? Yes. Yeah.
And he learns through mysticism and shamanism the art of transforming into different animals.
Okay. Fantastic.
So usually a panther, like apparently the premise is it can turn into any animal, but you would imagine budgetary restrictions meant that he usually turned into a panther, falcon, or a snake.
We bought those before the season started. You could turn into those. Yeah, that's it. No elephants this year, mate.
It's got ridiculously long opening titles that explain the whole show.
Did he do anything with it? Is he fighting crime afterwards, or is it just a guy?
Yeah, he's kind of a crime fighter, but just obviously you can turn into animals when needed. It only lasted 8 episodes. I think that's the budget thing again.
We must bring up, once again, a show we've discussed on another podcast. I can't remember which one, but one of my favourite shows of the 90s, Early Edition. Do you remember this show? It's a man who, I believe he lives in Chicago, and every day a cat delivers him tomorrow's newspaper.
Yes!
Fucking fantastic show. Yeah, fantastic show.
Oh.
The cat delivers him tomorrow's newspaper, and he picks usually one from about 4 or 5 pages in, because who's going to do, stop the big bomb on the front page? But he picks an easy story and goes and helps him out.
But for financial reward? Or just because he can?
He never seems to biff Tannen it. He just seems to kind of, go and help people with, usually he picks really simple ones, like someone gets hit by a train or something like that, and he goes and helps out.
Well, how's he, pays rent?
I don't know. He's living in a place that has a magic cat coming to his house. I don't know if he's
Yeah, I don't know.
rent.
Yeah. We wouldn't be past the sport pages, so.
Actually, thinking about it, maybe that's how he pays his rent. Maybe he only picks to do the small ones because he also has a regular job.
Yeah,
maybe he's like,
that's
I can
fair.
only do the stuff I can do on my lunch hour. Okay, it says that she got hit by the train at 12:30. I'll take my lunch there and I'll go for it. I think maybe it's that kind of vibe. But yeah, I really enjoyed that show. I don't know
but
what
maybe
happened
you
to
just go straight to the obituaries first to see if his landlord's in there. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
nice.
Oh, all right. Well, I do have to pay this week. Shit.
it. What if he saw himself in there?
Oh my god.
Deep. Yeah, deep.
Or the cat.
My next note that I have written down is just my mother the car. So we've been over that.
Yeah. It's being remade in our
Yeah.
show notes.
That would be cool.
In
I think I should
Australia,
remake that.
there
Yeah.
was one called Let the Blood Run Free, which was a fairly innovative sort of show. Like it was a comedy soap opera almost, but
Okay.
it was in 1990. But people could ring in and say how they wanted the storyline to go for the next week. That's pretty innovative.
Cool.
Not
That's
weird.
heaps cool.
Innovative. The
How
show
the-
itself was weird though.
What kind of fucking production schedule turnaround
Yeah.
would be going on with that?
Exactly. Yeah.
You'd be wanting to take the first phone call after the app finished on Sunday night, wouldn't you?
Someone ring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't call after. Fuck. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I remember, yeah. That brings back memories. Do you remember that weird period of time in Australian television relating to Big Brother? Maybe Big Brother season 3 or so, where we had weird late night shows where people would call in and do quizzes and stuff. The first one that I remember hosted by Hot Dogs. Remember
Yeah,
Hot
Hot
Dogs
Dogs.
hosting it? What was that kind of format? It seemed to go for 4 or 5 hours each night.
So the purpose was because the TV companies worked out with telco companies
Yeah.
like a deal where they would get people to text message in answers to quizzes and for prizes and all this sort of stuff
Yep.
at some
Yeah, I remember that.
high rate, and then they would presumably carve up the money made out of sending a
Okay.
text for $1,
Yeah.
and then you might want to answer 20 questions on the night.
Yeah, that was a weird time. What do you know about Norwegian slow television?
Slow television. I think I've heard the term. That's probably about it.
Yeah, I think the ABC in Australia, or maybe SBS actually, took it over for a bit, but the concept was long, very easy programs. The first major one was a 10-hour program and it was the first one to do this, of just a fire, someone stoking a fire.
Yes.
And it actually, in Norway, created, was the record for most ever calls in about a show. Because people were telling them that they were making the fire wrong. Like, there were people calling up to say,
That's
no,
dads.
you've put it wrong. Yeah, it's a very dad kind of vibe, but yeah, they got the most calls. But then they have ones like train journeys where it's just you got a 12-hour train journey and you got the camera on the front, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I think they did the Garn on SBS, like that train in the desert.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got a couple more here, and obviously I can't sit here and go into depth in any of these, but I mean, if you like the sound of any of these that we're saying, go and see if you can find them. There's one called Sapphire and Steel, which is a British supernatural show. Joanna Lumley and David McCallum. And, and they're actually elements that have taken on human form.
Well, Sapphire's not an element, is it? Neither
is steel.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, I'm just reading the premise of the show to you.
Wouldn't you name it after two elements? What it's
If you're interested in that, go and find it out. But here's the weirdest one that I found.
Okay.
Although I think you've beaten it with Early Edition with the cat and the newspaper.
I love that show.
It's called Pushing Daisies. This is only from 2007. I wouldn't mind.
I know that show. I know Pushing Daisies. That sounds familiar. What's it about? Why do I know that show?
It's a pie baker who brings people back from the dead with his touch,
Yeah,
but they only come back for a short period of time.
Yeah.
So did you watch this show?
No, but I remember advertising it. Maybe I broadcast it at work somewhere once.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Pushing Daisies. That's right. So a pie maker brings people back to life?
Yeah.
How?
It just touches them.
So the pie maker has to find dead people?
So I think he would go and
Sorry, you did preface this by saying you didn't.
can't go into it too far.
Yeah.
But I'm encouraging people. I personally am going to go and watch Pushing Daisies.
I would like to see that. I'm going to go and watch an episode of Early Edition.
Can you please go and just watch the opening theme to Manimal as well while you're at it?
Yes, I sure can.
It'll go for about 10 minutes.
So long as we're back and forth and with weird shows, I once had a night really enjoying watching a marathon of a show on Discovery Channel, which was just about a group of fellas who went around the world getting stung by poisonous things,
Right.
and then ranking them as like what was the worst painful one. Like it's pretty fucking simple. Like it's just watching people get hurt.
Yeah. It's the simplest things are the things that work the best, right?
Absolutely.
Someone being humiliated or in pain.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Football in the groin had football in the groin.
We're a fair way into this episode, but I haven't done the weird law yet.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think of this? As most people know, you need a TV license to watch or record live broadcast programs or BBC iPlayer in England, right?
Well, actually, I would say no. Most people don't know that. I think us Australians do, but like I talked to someone here in Canada about that recently. And
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, so, okay, in Great Britain, you need a license to watch TV, pretty much.
Yeah.
So you pay like a yearly fee.
Yeah.
And your license covers you to watch, but it also covers you to watch the content if you're away from home but on a portable device. So you're allowed to watch your phone somewhere else, watching their TV channels, etc. But how about this? If you go to somebody's house who doesn't have a TV license, you're allowed to watch your phone unless you plug your phone into a charger. Then it's no longer a mobile device. You're watching in an unlicensed person's house on a stable viewing thing.
I wonder how many episodes of The Bill there are about catching people doing that. That'd be fantastic.
How about that? Like,
you plugged it in, mate.
Yeah.
You're necked. Yeah, fantastic.
Knock, knock, knock. Oh, Jim, what are you doing? I've come over here to watch telly on my phone in your house. I'm only on 5% battery, though.
Well, don't fucking plug that in, mate. You'll get us both fucking arrested. Yeah, that kind of... Sorry. Got to be weird there. All right, what else you got?
This is called Revisiting the Unique Episode of CSI Miami that Rob Zombie directed.
Okay.
So everyone knows who Rob Zombie is. He's the horror movie director.
You got to stop assuming people's knowledge. TV licenses in Britain, Rob Zombie. I'm sure there's people who don't know who Rob Zombie is.
Okay, but I start like that so that I don't actually have to go to the trouble of explaining.
Oh, so it's false assumption, but it gets it out of the way that you don't have to do it.
And if if I infer that you're a bit of a dummy if you don't know this already, people will just go and look it up. So they don't admit.
I think you'd imply that. They would infer that. Hopefully they infer that.
All right.
Go on.
So
Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie did a funny thing between 2009's Halloween 2 and 2012's The Lords of Salem. He directed an episode of CSI Miami, the CBS crime procedural that gifted us all with the David Caruso comeback nobody asked for.
Dun dun. And he takes his glasses off.
Yeah.
I like that one.
So by the time Zombie chose to sit behind the camera for the series, CSI Miami was well underway. The crime drama was in its 8th season, and Caruso's one-liners and peculiar way of fumbling with sunglasses had already swept the nation. Zombie and the show were an odd pairing, to say the least, but the rocker by day, director by night, was a genuine fan, and producers were likely trying to replicate the success they'd had previously when they invited Quentin Tarantino to direct a 2-part episode of the original CSI.
Okay. And breathe. Yeah. Okay. Where is this going?
Director Rob Zombie takes CSI Miami to the scariest place on Earth. The trailer of the episode announced before revealing Detective Horatio Crane, Caruso, was heading to Los Angeles.
Horatio Crane's a great name.
The episode, which was the 16th of the 8th season, was packed with character actors in guest spots, many of them zombie regulars. There was William Forsythe as a mysterious police captain, Malcolm McDowell as a slithery lawyer, and even Michael Madsen as a football star turned bodyguard.
Malcolm McDowell and Michael Madsen are both fantastic actors.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they're not character actors, they're great actors.
Yeah.
Is character actor insulting?
I think it's a euphemism for someone who
is stereotyped, like plays a similar role.
Yeah, is maybe doesn't have enough range or pulling power to be a headliner.
Is Steve Buscemi the best character actor ever? Is that like is that the archetype of character actor though? But like, is that what you mean? Like he's Steve Buscemi can't play anyone except Steve Buscemi, really, like in that kind of like...
The point, me reading all that was for the sake of one line, which...
What's the line? Tell me the line.
Malcolm McDowell would basically spent the whole shoot trying to irritate David Caruso, pretty much, is the point. So okay. he would make Caruso wait really long times, and like they would be just about to go action, and Malcolm McDowell would pause and go to the bathroom while he was standing there. There's a scene where McDowell's on the phone, and he would just like riff and improvise on the phone for ages, making Caruso just stand there and wait.
I love that. That's great. Why does McDowell hate Caruso? That's great.
I don't know if he hates him. I just think like he probably hates his type.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
he was a bit of a dick. The director revealed that working with Caruso was a challenge. The show's lead actor struggled with doing anything more than being the center of a hero shot and spouting off a one-liner. Zombie was informed Caruso didn't like walking, driving, or dealing with doors in scenes.
Dealing with doors is a good one. Yeah, I don't like dealing with doors in scenes. That's fair.
Yes.
Walking.
Product time.
Okay. Sorry, I'll stop talking. Say that again.
Weird product time. So I think that we'd also probably all agree, if I'm not going to get into trouble for assuming things, we probably all agree that there's been a lot of weird products advertised on TV infomercials over the years.
Absolutely.
I don't think you can beat the shake weight, though. Now, you know what a shake weight is, don't you? Yes.
The jerk-off looking thing?
You're making the motion, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an oscillating dumbbell that you hold with both hands. The claim was there was a better way to lift weights, but it wasn't actually very effective in terms of being any more effective or less effective. And yet, it was very popular. I think bought a lot for the novelty reason that it does look like you're jacking somebody off using the shake weight.
Are you supposing or purporting that they made it like that so people would buy it for the novelty, not for the health aspect?
I'm not. I think they probably had good intentions, but I don't think there are many people who bought a shake weight for a gift for somebody else because they had their muscle tone
Their
in
best
mind.
muscle tone. Yeah, that's
They
right.
had them, here, use this because you're good at this action. You know what I mean? That's the joke.
Yeah, I get you.
South Park parodied the shake weight in the 2010 episode Creme Fraiche.
Good.
Yeah, so have a look at that. Yeah, very weird product.
That was a weird product. I like all the things they sell on television. Well, I don't like all the things they sell on television, but I like the concept of selling things on television. Do you remember Big Kev?
Yeah, that's an Australian-centric reference. Big Kev was a very fat, excitable man. That,
Who died of a heart attack.
Well, yeah.
Fat excitable. That's the start to finish.
Yeah.
What did he sell? Big Kev, what did Big Kev sell? All sorts of stuff, eh?
Oh, yeah, I think he... Like a lot of home cleaning products, I want to say.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember Tim Shaw selling knives all the time.
Yeah, Tim Shaw selling knives. That's, Vince selling, the ShamWow.
Yeah, Vince and the ShamWow. Now, I think that guy got in trouble for stabbing a hooker. I think it was that guy.
All right. Well, now I don't know what to do. I was looking up Big Kev, but now should I look up...
No, I think
Vince
the ShamWow
stabbing a
guy.
hooker, or-
I think the ShamWow guy had to go to prison. I don't know if he stabbed a hooker or got stabbed by a hooker, but I think something bad happened to the ShamWow guy or by the ShamWow guy.
I can't not look.
I know something's happened with him.
On February 7, 2009, Vince Offer and a 26-year-old prostitute were both arrested in Miami Beach, Florida, after a physical alteration. The police report stated the woman had bitten into Offer's tongue and refused to let go, at which point Offer punched her in the face.
Okay, punched her, he didn't stab her. Okay, so I was kind of close there. That's pretty good. I think, speaking of stabbing hookers or having problems with hookers, I think Screech from Saved by the Bell also stabbed a hooker.
Well, we know that he made a porn film.
Yeah, but I think he then
involved a
stabbed
dirty
someone.
Sanchez.
Oh, my.
Did you not know that?
I think I knew that, but had not committed it to memory.
Yeah, likely story.
Yeah.
No, lung cancer. He died from lung... Oh, you mean... Oh, no, we weren't looking
I'm
at
sure he died, but yeah, I don't think he died by stabbing the
So what am I searching? Screech Saved by the Bell?
I don't know. It's Screech jail.
Knife.
Screech in jail. I remember him going to jail at Christmas time. I don't know why, but I remember.
Why? Do you remember feeling sorry for him that he was inside? And
Yeah. I remember that
Yuletide.
there was a weird pang of kind of like, oh, he's going to miss Christmas.
Dustin Diamond gets 4 months sentence in bar stabbing. So yes, there was a bar stabbing.
Must have been at Christmas too.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of those TVC guys, like the selling TV stuff, end up doing bad things.
Well, Big Kev, was mostly known. Like he had.
Well, he didn't do any bad things. Did Aussie Joe Bugner ever sell stuff on television? Is that a fever dream I had one? Does that ring a bell to you?
No,
Aussie Joe Bugner selling stuff on telly?
it doesn't ring a bell. No,
Okay.
I'm afraid not. I'd like to take that somewhere with you.
Well, it's all right. I don't know where it would go, but thank you. But
Can I
feel
give
like
you-
I remember.
Maybe
Yeah,
we
yeah,
should
go
give you a
on.
party oddity so you can
I
go
think
to
it's
bed.
probably best. It's getting party kind of time, isn't it?
So, think of how fucking risque this was in the day, right? In 1957, Leave It to Beaver became the first TV show to show part of a toilet on TV.
Part of a toilet.
Yeah, well, they couldn't show the actual toilet bowl. That would have been too much. But they did
Yeah.
show the top of the tank, the cistern,
Oh, yeah.
and had to fight for that to happen.
Did the cistern relate to the story, do you think?
Good question. Great
Because
question.
that's how they would afford it. They said, well, we need to show the cistern. It's integral to this Leave It to Beaver story.
I just
to
imagine
see the cistern here.
the producers going to the network bigwigs and going, people shit. It's about time you accept this. It's a part
Yeah.
of life.
I remember.
Meanwhile, the show's called
Yeah.
Leave It to Beaver. They didn't have
I
a
know,
problem
but-
with that.
No, well, I don't think it meant what it meant then.
Oh.
I think it was the Brady Bunch, or maybe even more recent than that, maybe even like Roseanne or something like that. The children's bathroom didn't have a toilet because they didn't want to show a toilet.
Right.
I don't remember what that was. Also, Fox had a...
Wouldn't that be scarier, though? If you're a kid watching them and they don't have a toilet, you would assume that they're aliens or something weird about them, or you're weird for having one.
Yeah, or it's a terribly designed house. Fox had a... Well, that was a parting oddity. My stuff ain't good enough anymore. I think we should pass.
I reckon we've done a lot more self-editing in this episode than we've ever done before.
Yep. Yeah, it wasn't the strongest of ours.
All right, thank you, Monty.
Thank you, mate. Sorry I didn't bring my complete A game, but I tried.
I don't agree. Oh, and there we are at the end of season 4. That's it. That's season 4 done and dusted. Why is it dusted? Not too sure. They're dusting for Prince in that phrase? Yeah, something to think about. Little bonus weird thing to think about. Oh. That's fantastic. Yeah, look, thanks very much for listening to this season, and thanks to all the guests that came on to help me out. Look, probably, I don't know, how long do you think this has got much left in it? I mean, life itself is too weird for the stuff in this podcast to be beaten at a lot of the time, so I don't know, maybe we're reaching the end of this run. I'll maybe do one more season next year. So, if you've ever wanted to be on Bit Weird But Fair Enough, I guess, or you ever wanted to submit a story, then, get in touch by the end of the year. Yes, thanks very much. But, yeah, to take us out, I thought I'd, summarize this season, as I sometimes like to do, in song. It's a bit weird life for us. It's a bit weird life for us. Stupid types of hot cross buns, putting up with bad dad puns. It's weird shows on TV. The Brits eat eels in jelly. Alberta's war against the rats, stealing gallons of maple syrup from that. It's a bit weird life. The world is getting stranger. Don't it feel like there's never any end? Every time you open up your phone, there's too much for sanity to defend against. Don't say that. Drive-through condoms, what a treat. Standing in a shower of meat, the witness feels eternal. Reading romance by the canoe. It's a bit weird life. Ah, yes, it certainly is a weird life, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us this season. I couldn't have done it without you. I sure hope you'll be back next time. There'll be more weird stuff. The world's not going to get any less weird. This is an Angry Chimp podcast.